Emma Parker was just an ordinary 17-year-old girl in Ohio, but her heart felt way older than that. Her parents fought almost every night about bills, her little brother Luke needed help with school, and Emma worked late shifts at a local diner just to buy her own textbooks. Everyone at school saw her as the quiet girl with tired eyes and a fake smile, but no one knew that she cried almost every night into a pillow so no one would hear. Every day, Emma walked past the same cracked sidewalk near the old park, the same gray sky, the same bus stop covered in faded posters of colleges she wasn't sure she'd ever afford. It felt like life had already decided who she was going to be. The girl who almost made it but didn't. On one of those days she came home from her shift, feet aching, apron still smelling like fries and coffee. She checked her phone, 11:10 p.m. She tossed it on her bed and collapsed next to it, staring at the ceiling with tears already burning her eyes. Her mom and dad were in different rooms again. The house was quiet, but not the peaceful kind, just heavy like the silence was yelling louder than words. Her phone screen lit up with a notification, and her eyes caught the time. 11:11. She'd heard the joke 1,000 times. Make a wish at 11:11. But that night it didn't feel funny or cute. It felt desperate. She grabbed the phone, holding it close like it could hear her. I wish my life would change, she whispered, voice trembling. I wish I could be someone who doesn't give up. I wish I could make things better for me, for Luke, for mom and dad. Just please, give me one chance. She stared at the glowing numbers. 11:11. 4 digits. For chances she decided, one for herself, one for Luke, one for her mom, one for her dad. She closed her eyes and let the tears finally fall, soaking her pillow. No magic happened. No light burst through the window. Upstairs, her parents stayed in separate rooms. The world outside stayed dark. But something tiny shifted inside her. The next morning, nothing looked different, but Emma did something she hadn't done in weeks. She tried. Not fake trying because teachers were watching, real trying, the kind you do when you have nothing but the hope you whispered into the dark. She pulled out her old laptop with the cracked corner and slow battery and searched how to get scholarships, and how to study better, and how to help my little brother with reading. She took notes in a cheap notebook, the pages already wrinkled, and stuck a small 11:11 doodle on the front. It wasn't magic. It wasn't easy. It was just a start. At school, Mrs. Ramirez, her English teacher, noticed the change. Emma was raising her hand more, turning in homework early, asking questions after class. One afternoon, as everyone else rushed out, Mrs. Ramirez called her name softly. Emma, can you stay a minute? Emma's stomach twisted. She thought she was in trouble. But when she walked up to the desk, Mrs. Ramirez simply smiled and held up one of Emma's assignments. This essay you wrote, about wanting to change your life. It's powerful, she said. You have a real voice. Have you ever thought about applying for writing scholarships? Emma shook her head. I don't think someone like me gets those. Someone like you? Mrs. Ramirez leaned forward. Someone who works late, helps her brother, and still writes like this? That's exactly the kind of person who gets them. She slid a paper toward Emma. On it were 3 scholarship links, a creative writing contest, and a note in blue ink. I believe in you, Mr. Emma held that paper like it was made of gold. But what if I fail? She whispered. Then you fail forward, Mrs. Ramirez said. You learn, you adjust, and you try again. Don't let fear make decisions for you. That night at 11:11, Emma glanced at her phone again. She smiled just a little. Okay, she whispered. I'm not waiting for miracles anymore. I'm going to become my own. She started writing every day. Short stories between homework and shifts. College essays in the corners of her notebook while Luke watched cartoons. Journal entries on her phone at the bus stop. When her feet hurt at the diner, she'd imagine a future version of herself looking back and saying, "Thank you for not quitting." One evening, Luke sat at the kitchen table, head down, frustrated with his homework. I'm dumb, he muttered, pushing his book away. Emma sat beside him and gently pulled it back. Hey, don't talk about my little brother like that, she said softly. You're not dumb. You're just learning. Big difference. He looked up, eyes shiny. But it's hard. She smiled sadly. I know. My life feels hard too. But you know what I do? What? He sniffed. I make wishes at 11:11. she said, wiping his cheeks. But then I work like it's all up to me. That way, if my wish doesn't come true, I know I still tried my best. And if it does, I know I helped make it real. Luke stared at her for a moment, then nodded slowly. Can I make a wish too? Every night, she replied. But promise me something, don't just wish. Work with it. Days turned into weeks, and soon Emma submitted her first scholarship application. She stayed up late checking every word, every sentence, typing and retyping her story. The late nights at the diner, her parents' arguments, the fear, the tears, the 11:11 wish, and the decision to change even when nothing around her did. When she hit submit, her hands were shaking. Please, she whispered to no one in particular, her eyes darting to the clock. 11:11 p.m. again. Please. Weeks went by. No reply. She almost convinced herself it was pointless. Until one afternoon, as she walked home under a gray sky, her phone buzzed. Congratulations, Emma Parker. Her heart stopped. She read the rest with trembling eyes. You have been selected as one of this year's scholarship recipients. The world blurred. She stopped in the middle of the sidewalk, tears spilling over, and pressed her hand over her mouth so she wouldn't scream. She laughed and cried at the same time, the email glowing in her shaking hands. People walked past her, not knowing that a girl who used to think she was nobody had just been told, "You are going somewhere." That night, her parents sat at the worn-out kitchen table, email printed and laid between them. Her mom's eyes were red and wet. Her dad, who rarely cried, brushed a tear away roughly. I had no idea, he said quietly. I knew you were working hard, but I didn't know how much. We've been so wrapped up in our own problems, her mom whispered. We didn't see you carrying all this alone. I'm sorry, baby. Emma shook her head, still overwhelmed. I didn't want us to stay stuck forever. Her dad reached across the table and took her hand. Her mom did the same. For the first time in a long time, they weren't three different people in three different worlds. They were a family again, all holding onto the same small miracle printed in black ink. Later, in her room, Emma sat on her bed, the house strangely peaceful. Luke burst in, jumping onto her blanket. Did you see my wish worked? He grinned. Your wish, she laughed. What did you wish for? I wished that your wish would come true, he said simply. Every night at 11:11 I said, please help my sister. Her throat tightened. She pulled him into a hug, burying her face in his hair so he wouldn't see her cry. Thank you, she whispered. That night, she didn't just look at the clock at 11:11. She waited for it. When the time finally turned, she lifted her phone and opened the camera, recording herself for the first time, hands shaking slightly but eyes shining. If you're seeing this, she said into the lens, I need you to hear something important. I used to think 11:11 was just a silly thing. Make a wish, laugh, move on. But one night, when everything felt like it was falling apart, I made a wish anyway. I didn't wish for money or fame. I wished for the strength to change my life. And then I started working like that wish depended on me. Her voice wobbled, but she kept going. I was a tired, broke, scared girl from Ohio working late at a diner, helping my little brother with homework in a noisy kitchen, listening to my parents argue in the next room. I thought I'd be stuck there forever. But I decided that my wish at 11:11 would be a promise to myself. A promise that I wouldn't quit on me. She smiled softly. So if you're watching this and you feel like nothing ever changes, listen. Don't just wish for a different life. Build it. One tiny step, one late night, one I'll try again at a time. Your future self is begging you not to give up. Her eyes glistened as she leaned closer to the camera.